The Kansas City Chiefs are doing the Arizona Cardinals a favor. Really? Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Your team every day. Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day, free and available on all platforms. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So yeah, please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit subscribe, turn notifications on, hit a like. I'd appreciate it. And thanks for being everydayers. Thanks for hanging out with me every day. If you've been here since 2017 or if this is your first listen, thank you all the same. The Arizona Cardinals play the Kansas City Chiefs at home Saturday night in their second preseason game. I would expect to see a couple more starters for at least a couple series. I'll talk about the players to watch in the second team. There's two specifically. One is not a surprise, and the other one isn't a surprise, but I'm curious to see how much he does play. And then can the Cardinals beat Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders in week one? They're not the best of teams in the NFL, so it's just interesting to discuss as we're, a few weeks away from actual football and the kickoff of week one when the Cardinals go and face the Washington Commanders. But with the Kansas City Chiefs coming into town, it kind of begged the question for me. How much, first off, how much are the Chiefs starters going to play? Andy Reid mentioned they're going to be playing about the first half. And that's doing the Cardinals an absolutely massive favor. And the reason why is because it'll be a litmus test for the defense. May not be pretty, but it'll be a litmus test. It's like, okay, where is this defense against the reigning Super Bowl champions a couple weeks before the season starts? And I think that there couldn't be a better opponent right now for the Cardinals to face than the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the best offense in football because it's Patrick Mahomes. Sure, it's the preseason. Sure, the game doesn't matter. Sure, they're probably not even going to be going at 100% full speed, okay? But it's a lot better for them to play the Chiefs than, I don't know, the Patriots or somebody else in week two, where you're going to see what this defense is made of. Sure, they're going to come out with fire, it seems like Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon had them set up for in the first preseason game against the Broncos. I don't think that's really a question at this point. But the question will be, can LJ Collier get home against the Chiefs offensive line? Can Zaven Collins get home against the Chiefs offensive line? Can these corners hold the Patrick Mahomes thrown to wide receivers at bay in some capacity? What are we going to see? And better, worse, indifferent, it is going to be incredible. So the Cardinals have a starting point to grow from. And again, I'm not romanticizing the preseason. I'm not saying the preseason is really important at all as pertaining to it being directly correlative to the, to positive or negative things that happen win-loss record in the regular season. But what I am saying is anytime you get to see Patrick Mahomes and play him in a game that doesn't count is a win for the defense. And the defense is going to be the tougher side of the ball, it seems, this season, barring Kyler Murray missing the entire year, which I don't think is going to be the case. Letting these young players on the defensive side of the ball and Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins play against Patrick Mahomes for however long he gets to, it seems like it'll be at least a quarter plus, is going to do nothing but benefit this team for the future. And anything the Cardinals can do to benefit themselves for the future, especially you can thank the scheduling committee for giving them this opportunity, is wildly beneficial. In what ways? Okay. Even if this goes catastrophically wrong and the Cardinals go down 28-0 at halftime, you know where you need to improve. And you've got like a visual representation on what the depth chart looks like. And if the Cardinals come out and they play with fervor and they play with might and they play like they did against Denver, the score doesn't matter, because that is a huge upgrade from the past regime. It is a huge upgrade. So when you actually have tape on this defense, even though it's a preseason game, it doesn't matter. Putting pictures to words, putting pictures in real motion to practice is invaluable for a team that's rebuilding in the way that the Cardinals are. You have to play against Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's expecting the Cardinals to win many games this year. Nobody's expecting anything. So when you can learn against the best quarterback in football, in whatever capacity it is, it's a win. And for the Cardinals and where they currently sit, this is like the perfect time for it to happen, because this game actually kind of matters, not in the grand scheme of, the regular season, but it matters in the sense that the starters are going to be playing. And it's going to be more of a real life game than what we witnessed in week 1, which is, pretty much the Pro Bowl. So if you have guys come out and play with the passion that they did in the first week, and you play against Patrick Mahomes and they hang, even if it's the preseason, it actually means something. Not necessarily for the win-loss record for the Cardinals this year, not for, anything like that, but it shows that this team is changing under the new regime. This team is moving in the right direction. And I'm not making too big a deal out of this. How you do the simple things is how you do the big things. And if they come out, play with passion, knock down Patrick Mahomes a couple times, bat down a couple balls, defend well against the run, like, you can take that with you. Like, okay. Yeah, it's the preseason. No, these don't matter in the grand scheme of things. But for building a foundation again, they matter a lot, because how you do the simple things is how you do the big things. And we're a far cry from where we were in the last regime through 1 week. I know it's early, obviously, but whatever isn't a step backwards is a step forward, and it was a step forward in week 1, and you just hope it continues regardless of score outcome in week 2. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Players to watch. I'm stoked for week 2. I'm stoked to see more starters play. I'm stoked to see more Clayton Tune. I'm stoked to see maybe another player who I will discuss as we roll on here. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I have a history with LinkedIn. I mean, I was on it for a long time before, I landed my jobs. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager if you're a small business. You want to be 100% certain that, you find the right people, you have the access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people you want to talk to for your team faster and for free. So you make a post, you add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Please go to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe. Jump on this train with me as we go through in real time a rebuild, hopefully of epic proportions, as pertaining to the future of this organization, seeing sights that they've never seen before. It's the goal. And with the Chiefs coming into town, couldn't be a better time to play an elite opponent, even though the starters may only play a half, or will play a half at most. anytime you're on the field with snaps against Patrick Mahomes, it's a win. And luckily, it's not week one like it was last year where the Cardinals were absolutely embarrassed, being completely underprepared, and nobody really being surprised about it. Players to watch. First, it's Clayton Tune. It's Clayton Tune. Twitter is a funny thing. I say one thing during the story of my Clayton Tune should start week one if he's proves to be an NFL caliber quarterback. And people think that it's because of tanking. People think it's because Colt McCoy's not. The truth is that if Clayton Tune's ready, Colt McCoy cannot unlock this offense like Clayton Tune can. It's just a fact. If Clayton Tune is not lost on an NFL football field, and through 1 week of preseason, he looks like he belongs. Sure, he missed some easy throws. Sure, he's a rookie and never played in the NFL. We know what Colt McCoy is. We don't know what the future of this organization is to be. So with that, why not just go with the unknown until he proves that he's closer to Nathan Peterman than a starting NFL quarterback at this time? Starting Colt McCoy is a tough sell if you want to see what the future of this organization is going to be. Now, if Clayton Tune's not ready, you don't start him. I'm not saying you start him blindly, but this is what the preseason's for. And that's why I want to see him more than anybody. I hope that Colt McCoy doesn't play two quarters. I think it's a fool's errand. I don't think that you need to see, and I know it's a new offense, but this offense, like Colt McCoy could run this offense in his sleep, but that doesn't mean that the verticality of who the Cardinals have out, especially from the wide receiver position, would be best utilized with Colt McCoy quarterback. It's just not the case. So if Clayton Tune's ready to rock, you roll him out. If he's not ready, you don't. Okay, simple as that. But Clayton Tune's number one for me because they need to find a quarterback one. And some people have issues with it, just understanding this. When I say QB1, QB1 means first on the depth chart at the quarterback position. Kyler Murray is not QB1 because he's not playing football right now. I'm not saying that Clayton Tune's going to be a QB1 star in this league. And the Brock Purdy comparison, stop it. If Brock Purdy doesn't exist to me when talking about Clayton Tune. I don't think Brock Purdy's that good. I don't think that they're crowning him way before he's done anything. So anybody that's thinking that when I'm talking about Clayton Tune, that's like an insult to me. Because of the fact that I don't think Brock Purdy deserves the praise he's getting. I don't. Clayton Tune won. He's a quarterback, obviously. I want to see LJ Collier. He came from Seattle. He said he's happy here. LJ Collier, as I mentioned last week, is a perfect example of a prove-it deal for both sides. Prove-it deal for him, prove-it deal for the Cardinals to show that they're a different organization now. Because LJ Collier is a former first-round pick. LJ Collier used to strike the fear the name did in opposing offensive lines and quarterbacks. If he can resurrect his career with Arizona in 2023, put up close to double-digit sacks or double-digit sacks, and sign a contract extension with the Cardinals, they can check the box. And that's an incredible thing for them because I've mentioned this a lot. The Cardinals' goal in 2023, build the culture, rebuild everything, foundation, everything like that. Find players that will save them having to draft people in higher rounds for need and not for depth or not for accompaniment. And if LJ Collier can come in and ball out in 2023, you give him a contract extension for a few years, you don't have to draft someone in his position in the first or second round, that's a win. It's a win. And then the third one for me is James Conner. And I hope that James Conner plays. Not a lot, okay, maybe a couple of series, but I want to see James Conner in this run-centric offense. It's going to be a lot of 12 personnel. It's going to be running. It's going to be, and tight ends are going to be blocking. They're going to be running routes. I would love to see James Conner in this offense and just see what it's going to look like. Because, and I've talked about this since James Conner came here, was he needs to touch the ball 60% of the time max. It will elongate his health throughout the season. If he's touching the ball 70% of the time, it's not going to work. We saw it a couple years ago, and the Cardinals went downhill when he got hurt, when they started 7-0 and 10-2, on top of DeAndre Hopkins obviously being injured. But James Conner needs to be utilized 60% of the time max. Max. But I want to see him. And I'm stoked to see what he will look like in a more traditional offense that fits his running back first skill set and have the pass catching kind of be an accent. Because if the Cardinals are going to actually utilize this offense more traditionally, because it's more of a traditional offense, James Conner is going to be running the ball. They're going to have a running back who's going to be catching the ball. And sure, it'll be a yin-yang, 80-20. But James Conner can't touch the ball 20 times and then also have 6 catches a game. It's not sustainable. You want him to be great every time he touches the ball. You want him to be going north and south every time he touches the ball and lowering the chance of risk of injury. But I want to see James Conner on Saturday, and I'm stoked for that. You know what I'm also stoked for? Week 1 of football that's a few weeks away. Could the Cardinals get a W against the Sam Howell-led Washington Commanders in Week 1? Let's hit it. Let's have fun on a Friday. Final segment. Alex Clancy here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Chiefs are doing a massive favor for the Cardinals. Massive, playing the starters in the first 2 quarters. The Cardinals just happen to be the benefactor. They would have done it against anybody. It's not because of the Cardinals. But the Cardinals defense gets their first test, their first taste. And you know what? They got a light taste in Week 1 when Sean Payton decided to keep Russell Wilson in for almost 2 quarters. They lit him up in the first quarter. Sure, they scored a touchdown in the second. A Jerry Jeudy catch and run on a 4th down. I think it was like 4th and 6th or something. They held their own. Pass rush was there. If the pass rush is there, it makes the cornerback's job a lot easier. And the cornerbacks need their job to be as easy as possible in 2023. So that pass rush can be legit with Zaven Collins and LJ Collier and Cam Thomas and Myjai Sanders. I would like to see a little bit less Dennis Gardeck. He's great in spots. He's great with a heavier blitz package. I don't think you can rely on him as in every, playing 70% of the snaps. That's not ideal. It's not ideal. We'll see BJ Ojolari. We'll see if he plays on Saturday, which will be another fun honorable mention to watch. Garrett Williams still isn't healthy. But can the Cardinals go in to DC and get a W in Week 1? If this were any other week, say it was like Week 2 or Week 3, it would lower the percentages precipitously, I think, because Week 1 there's so much uncertainty. A lot of this will have to do with who starts. Say Colt McCoy does start, and will give the Cardinals a better chance to win in Week 1, even though it doesn't really show what this offense is going to be like with Kyler Murray, more like what Clayton Tune would if they were to start him. But Sam Howell, I'm still, unless there's a huge surprise here, Sam Howell, Jahan Dotson looks to be the real deal. Terry McLaurin is the real deal. They've got Brian Robinson. They've got running backs abound. Defense is pretty good. Chase Young is in the contract year. Still think the Cardinals should trade a 3rd-round pick for him. This is going to be another test because Washington is not really a good football team. They'll probably win 7 games this year. Interdivisional NFC East is tough. Tough to win games in that division, interdivisionally. But it's not like they're playing the Chiefs or the Chargers or, the Bengals or the Ravens in Week 1. Teams that are, could be double-digit favorites on the road against the Cardinals, depending on how they play in the first couple games. It's Week 1, uncertainty. Cardinals have pretty good luck in Week 1 aside from Kansas City last year. Could they get a W with the uncertain Week 1? Yeah, of course they can. Will they? Probably not. But this is the reason why I say it's a test is because we'll now see then what they look like against a C-plus team. If they lose 34-6, yeah, it's going to be a long season. Even with all the new offense and new defense and everything, I think the Cardinals are going to play more close games this year than people think. Probably not win a bunch, but play close because that's in coaching, that's in mindset, that's in drive, that's in dedication, that's in things that the Cardinals were very weak at over the last 4 seasons, for the most part. But can they get a W in Washington? And this isn't like, well, yeah, they play the game, so obviously they could win any given Sunday. No. Can they beat the Washington Commanders on the road in Week 1? Absolutely. Absolutely. If they lose by 30 or they lose by 20, 30-10 or something, yeah. It's really going to show what the defense is as currently constructed. Now, this defense could absolutely surprise people. If you have a good pass rush, it's kind of like a skeleton key for the rest of the defense. And you've got Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson over the top with Isaiah Simmons playing in the middle of the field. Like, the cornerbacks can be, hidden, I guess, with there being a talent disparity. The interior defensive line is going to be tough. But if you have a good pass rush, anything's possible. It's got to make the opposing quarterback make mistakes. So while I think it's probably a stretch that the Cardinals will win in week 1 in Washington, it's a great test to see what they'll play like against a non-playoff team as they start their rebuild. You can check me out on Bleacher Report immediately following the game on the Bleacher Report app. Open it up, go to the Arizona Cardinals, turn notifications on. If you want to download the app now and then go and turn it on, and you'll see my big dumb face right after the game giving post-game reaction. Alex Nancy, Locked On Cardinals. I will talk to you on Monday.